Yo, 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 GM, give me just a second, guys. Let me tweet this out, get everything set up. Um, Everybody in here, I'm going to give an invite to. Oh, but yeah, let me tweet this out here in just a second. I apologize for running just a couple minutes late. I didn't even know if I'd make it here on time. So glad I did. Excited for the 58th consecutive week of Wonky Weekly Alpha. Today's got to be a little bit of a shorter space. I've got, tops to the end of the hour. Um, but, that's plenty of time to keep the vibes going. Rooster, what's going on, man? Diablo, how are you?
What up, Kaleo? Just picked up some breakfast. Yeah, ready to get it going for the day.
Love to hear it, man.
Hey, I'm just looking at some charts to see if I can tell where stuff's going. But yeah, I just wanted to say last time I speak with you, maybe a month ago, some weeks ago, I didn't have a Wonky Stonk yet, but I bought one now a couple of weeks ago. So yeah,
Let's
I'm part of
go.
it. I didn't get the one I wanted. I wanted one with a yellow background so I can put behind on my PFP. But I'll be hunting. I'll be hunting for a second one.
Love to hear
So
it,
yeah,
man. Yeah, I was going to say, there's always, they're not going to go anywhere. That's the amazing thing about it. 80s, welcome up to the stage, man. How are you?
Doing well, brother. How you doing today? Hello, walking fam.
I can't complain, man. I'm doing well, doing well. Good to be back.
You get a good workout in?
It was okay, man. I cut it a little bit short. I was running late. I was taking too long between sets. So didn't get the cardio portion in, but sometimes it just works out that way. I was lazy the past few days and I played just like a ton of basketball instead of instead of lifting. So today pivoted back to the lifting. I've gotten like enough cardio in. I feel like the past few days that kind of makes up for it. But I know I'm about to hit that weekend bump, man. The weekend bump is real because I just lose control.
The weekends are always a tough, man. Dude, I had getting over COVID over the past week, and it just a fire lit in me the other day. I was like, I got to get in shape, man. And seeing how it was in Austin, just slow and sluggish, and I'm back in it, man. I'm back in the mix. I'm day 3 straight working out, and I'm competing with you, man. I'm gonna hold you accountable
Yes,
too. You know that.
sir. Let's go, man. I love to hear it. So, what's the inspiration?
What's up?
I said, what's the inspiration?
Peru. I need to go climb some more mountains soon, and over the past few months, I just kind of shit the bed with working out, and I got to get back in shape, and I can't be climbing Machu Picchu the way I am right now. So,
Yeah, man. I completely feel that. I would not be in the shape that I need to do any type of major hiking like that right now. So, how long would this next trip be for?
I booked a one-way ticket, so don't know yet. Plan on 4 weeks, maybe 6. Who knows?
Love to hear it, man. I mean, I'm excited for you. The fact that can just get up and do that too, I think is amazing. Kind of inspires me, man. I'm gonna do a big trip sometime in the next year.
You know what makes it better to be able to do this is the support of my wife. Really, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without her encouraging me and her just not giving me shit and just allowing me to go on an adventure. And I that's a testament to my wife, man.
Oh, shoot, I accidentally removed Rooster, I guess. Either that or he was having some audio issues. We got him back up here. Sorry, dude. I've been looking for like this tweet where I cannot find it. You know, like my massive Wonky Stonks thread? I can't find where the heck that is out of all my tweets right now. I keep like looking up keywords because I want to pin it up to the top, and I can't find that
It
shit.
starts off with, here's why I believe.
Okay, you're at why I believe. That's what I'm going to start with. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I don't know why the other keywords didn't work for it, but there we go. Pinned up to the top. Dude, I've got like, I don't know. I kind of just had I was feeling it the past couple days too. Just the vindication, or not the vindication, but the conviction and everything for the stonks for this next cycle. Just kind of hits, man. Wait, first off, shout out to SZ. What's going on, man? Welcome up. Hey, you know, I can't wait to welcome you to the side of the Bulls when the time is right. um, you gotta DM me who does your gifs so I can figure out. Like, you know what? I'm gonna make some good gifs. I can't just, you know, do the screenshot, whatever, copy pasta as much as I try. Um, but anyway, like I was saying about the stonks, man. Here's the deal. I think NFTs are by far going to be the highest growth sector out of the market this next cycle. There's no way around it. When you start looking at the regulatory actions that a lot um, that we're seeing right now in the US, especially in the different vectors that they're attacking in the market, NFTs aren't really on the list right now. They're doing what they can to slow down derivatives and centralized exchanges. They're doing what they can to slow down some of the other different tokenized projects that are out there. But NFTs really just haven't been on the list of different things that they've really targeted so far. And when you're looking at next cycle, you know, a lot of people have talked about how they're bullish on DEXs, right? You know, where do NFTs primarily trade? They primarily trade on DEXs. So you have the opportunity for something that has the least amount of regulatory scrutiny. At the moment, I'm not saying that it won't have that, but typically less friction equals more opportunity. And when you're talking about, you know, what's going to be around the next cycle, you know, first and foremost, the majority of projects, and this is something that we've talked about on here, the majority of projects are going to die going into next cycle. Like even a lot of the blue chips right now that still have multi-ETH floors, they're going to die off by the time you hit the next cycle. But the one thing that I'm incredibly confident about with this is I still think that we're incredibly positioned well. And, you know, I think that the community and the way that we've stuck around through whatever each time, it just, you just have to survive until that next cycle and have a community that has the same energy that we do right now. You know, because again, that's the thing why I'm even more bearish on a lot of these projects that still have multi ETH floors that have been declining. Dude, look at how much percentage they are down from the tops, and how many people just feel completely scorned by the idea of these fallen roadmaps. They're going to fall to the side. I mean, the stonks with the vision of art and the history and everything else, you know, associated with it, like that's what lives on. You know, so I am so confident that it's just one of those things. You just, you know, you stack, you chill, and you know, you just keep the vibes rolling, and you'll be positioned to be one of those leaders heading into the next cycle. So sorry for my rant. Just had to, you know, it's something that I've been thinking about the past couple days, and just kind of got me hyped up.
Always bullish on the stonks. Always stacking. Just picked up I think it's been since the last space. The ribbon I picked up the other day. Oh man, that baby was gorgeous.
Dude, it was. There have been some absolute steals here the past several weeks that I've seen. Like, I forget. I think it's either Lander or Wall Street Bull. that has just been sniping some of these 1% traits that have been paper handed right above the floor, which, it's just one of those things where there are still a few of those that are out there. Here's what I think the real alpha is that I'll drop, and I apologize if this is anybody's strategy in here. If you really want to stack those rare traits, and this is kind of what Crow did back in the day, right? You just look for some of the rare traits that have never left a wallet before, right? Never left, like virgin wallets from minters, and just, kind of lowball the bid a little bit, but do it slightly above whatever the floor price is, or, the floor price offer, like WETH offer that's out on the table. So they see it and they're like, okay, well, that's kind of intriguing. And they're eventually, one of those is going to land, right? I'm fully confident of that, because there are a lot of people I think that still just don't realize what they have. And then, one day they have whatever, they're like, I need a little bit of extra ETH. So they go to their bag and, they see the stock and they're like, what's liquid? So they're going to go ahead and dump it. And that's your opportunity to be able to stack it. Those are the type of things that end up, whenever price action does get frothy again, that you don't have that same type of opportunity for. Right. So like that's my little bit of alpha, for everybody that is patiently accumulating in the room. Right. Like, don't feel this rush and this urge. I mean, occasionally there are things that are floored down there, but a lot of the times, if you have the patience to kind of do that WETH method, then you get to skip the line. You're not out there rushing whenever it is listed to outbid everybody else. And, so yeah, alpha for the people.
That's a fire alpha, Kaleo. Appreciate it. It's been quite interesting over the past, 18, 19 months to see the different trends and the way people in the community come through and utilize, certain market trends to get their collection pumped up, man. I remember just a few months ago it was lumber, now it's lander. Crow was doing it a few months ago. Like, there's so many people that just laser focus on the stonks, and if you are laser focused like you are right now out there, lander and other people, I mean, you're collecting a grail wallet.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I still look at it like this, right? So much of it still goes down to voice and having a presence leading into another cycle. And, I really think that we're positioned well on that type of a pedestal that, as that growth happens in the next cycle, dude, there's just zero. Once you understand the way parabolic growth happens in this space, like my account, for instance, I don't, where it grew from 5K to over 500,000 followers through the course of, 2 years, right? Like the next 2 year bull cycle, I could easily see it growing to a 5 million follower account, right? And through that process, the number of people that are going to be indoctrinated into just, crypto in general that don't have exposure to it right now. And they're looking for that, sector. Like, again, it all just goes back to look at the way historical NFTs performed last cycle, right? Like where they had their little mini season with that. So if you integrate that with, new innovations, then I don't know, it's an exciting idea for me, but it all goes back to, I think, having the right time frame mindset, the right mentality in general, and, just being patient with the space.
There's a whole other level to it, and I talk about it often, is the connections made. In this community in particular, like, we have set in stone, like, the resilient mindset and the growth mindset in this community. And people, they come and go in this community, but the ones that have stayed, that continue to grow together, and then they extrapolate that connection to other communities. And this cycle that we keep seeing, but it always comes back to Wonky Stonks, for me anyway, and the connections that I have established in this space. Those are the real opportunities too, even beyond just your bags. So that's something that we don't talk about enough of, and that's something that I'm very bullish on and will always be.
Amen, man. Yeah, I mean, heck, even look at like Room 110. Well, first off, everybody in room 110, dude, you guys have continued to grow your presence, your following. Even the room 110 space, if you just consider it like this index of your following and what you guys have done, dude, you guys are up 20% on your follower count in the past several months. Without me giving another shout out, because I think I helped give a shout out that got it over 2,000. But I think past that, like, it's just organically through a bunch of the different stuff you guys have done, and that's in the middle of a bear market, right? So just imagine what that, do another 20% over the next several months, and another 20% on that, and like that's how exponential growth happens. So I could easily see you guys sitting there, especially with the connections that you guys have formed as some of these different voices start to grow. Like, here's what happens, man. You have friends that are around your level of follower count, that's your community, that you're baked in, and you guys are all out there hustling during this bear market, and you're slowly growing. What ends up happening is, you have a few friends that end up just blowing up, becoming incredibly influential, and like it feeds into each other. It's a positive feedback loop, man. Everybody in that circle, it's like when one person eats, there's way more at the table than they can, handle themselves. So that, like, it spreads to everybody else that's in their circle. And I'm confident that's going to be what happens with you guys, man. Like, there's zero way around it.
We learned a lot from you, though, too. And it's that mentality of, under promise and over deliver. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. And having that consistency mindset, no matter what markets are happening in this space, no matter what time frame, it's just that continuous approach of being consistent and giving out good vibes to people with really no incentive other than just growing and building bridges together. And we're about to take it to another level too. And I appreciate you letting us speak on Room 110, because the trading guys, and you'll really relate to this too, T, these or Kaleo, and T is about to launch his own merch store too, man. There's so many different things that the guys in Room 110 and the ladies with Sushi's new space are doing. They're creating their own opportunity. And then that opportunity helps other people in the space. And then you see that transfer over to another community. And you're right, Kaleo, that consistent approach, that's the way you got to do it, man.
Amen, man. Fires me up. Hey, so this is a little bit out in left field, a little bit random. So something I was thinking about, though. Dude, the name of the space, NFTs, Wonky Weekly Alpha episode, whatever. Should we switch that up? And if so, do you have any good ideas for it?
Man, I mean, that's tried and true. We've at 58 episodes with the same title, man. It's hard to let go, but I mean,
hey, if you guys can brainstorm, hey, but that's part of the thing, though. You've got to be willing to take good advice whenever it's thrown out there. Because I thought about this the other day, too, right? It's titled Wonky Weekly Alpha, and, we're building a brand with that in and of itself. But at the same time, I've thought about this too. If you're not familiar with it and you're just scrolling through the top bar, the NFTs part, I guess, grabs you. But the Wonky Weekly Alpha, there are a lot of people still unfamiliar with it. So you've got a double-sided. It's either A,
You looking for some
do you
clickbait?
keep it to grow the name, or B, do you change the name to grow the presence?
Yeah, if you want some clickbait, call it Buy Stonks or Stay Poor.
Buy Stonks or Stay Poor, episode 59.
Well, actually, with the episode at the end, it sounds a little counterintuitive. Yeah, maybe not then.
Let's see what the devil has to say.
I just wanted to say that if you don't understand what Wonky Weekly says or what it means, you're not gonna make it.
Amen. Let's go, Diablo. Diablo, are you in the Discord with the guys?
Yeah, but I'm not too active, honestly.
Bro, I feel you. I'm the
mostly
worst
on
person
Twitter.
I've never been a good Discorder.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
because
absolutely atrocious on Discord too.
I've fallen on a lot of discords now of the stuff I have bought, or some stuff that's interesting, maybe stuff that is not NFTs, and it feels like it's too much information. And I go in and out of some of the projects like once or twice a week, but it's like just too much. You have to like read everything, and yeah, it's hard to keep up.
Kaleo,
Yeah, it's a lot.
if you are okay to speak on it, I would like to actually hear your thoughts about the DM about the stonks I sent you the other day. If you don't want to speak
I mean,
about it, that's all right as
no, I'm
well.
fine. I'm fine speaking about it. So, dude, here's my thing. I've got two thoughts. I like the idea, but I lean toward also not liking it because here's why. Like I I am a fan of just the fact that the collection is immutable, that you're not doing anything to change it. And I understand that some collections, like what you have right now with the PP decks for the Kanpai Pandas, how people have been able to go in and alter their NFT to be able to, make it look how they want and alter the rarities based on points. And, hey, that's cool. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the art of everything, right? And like, the, I like the fact that, hey, the collection is what it is. There's nothing that I feel like needs to be done to change it. Um, and it almost just at the end of the day, could it provide some type of you know, temporary move because of the fact that, oh man, you can burn to do whatever? Yes, it could. So from that shorter term perspective, I see maybe the incentive from the game theory of what's happening across the board with, things where you look at like, oh, Peepin and the checks and some of these other collections. And hey, like, because that's been successful, I think it's worth considering. But then just the classic me is sitting there thinking, okay, I believe that the collection, honestly, hey, it still may even feel large with 8,736 pieces. But at the end of the day, dude, that is so tiny when you think about the potential for this space in general. It's really not as large as it sounds, right? Think about how many people are out there that are involved with NFTs. Then think about how many people will be down the road. Think about how many people are just involved with the crypto space and how it continues to grow. 8,736 when you're talking about art and history is nothing. So I don't know. That's kind of my mentality as far as, but
No, 110%.
I'd like to hear your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I'm on the same page. Mine, like my initial thoughts were, um,
Keep it OG.
yeah, I love the OG. I thought about that as well. But then I also have like a good bag of songs that I don't really vibe with, and the gambler in me wanted to combine them just to re-roll. That it wasn't for like short term, price action or anything. And then I also thought on the art aspect of itself, because everything is actually truly generative, right? It's not going to be like you get to, select what traits or blah, blah, blah you want. You just would like watch it generate in like pure time. And I could, gamble and maybe like strike a grail on, by combining some of the stonks I don't like. That was just my idea, not financially motivated.
Well, hey, I actually do. There is part of me that kind of likes that. And, from that perspective, you could also say, hey, maybe there are some traits that are like that, where there are people that are like, hey, on average, people don't vibe with it. And eventually enough people burn them that they become a rarer trait. So I don't know. Like there is some merit to that. I don't think it should be completely thrown out the window. But yeah, I thought it's an interesting idea, man. Beach Dog, what's going on?
Not much, guys. How y'all doing?
So, my man, how you doing today, Beach Dog?
Good, doing good. I have a couple thoughts on two things. One is changing the name. I believe that the name change would have to show momentum. As everything does. So my throw out there would be the Wonky biweekly vibing with alpha. Of course, that would mean a little commitment from you, Kaleo, for another day during the week to do this. And then the other thing I have to address is, when do I get to defend my poker title?
So we can set up another poker tourney here in a bit. So the idea isn't necessarily to change the name; it's to double the spaces.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I appreciate the feedback.
Some of the crowd out here, can't get enough. We'd love to vibe twice a week.
Hey, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
There's another thing you can do with the title as well, is drop the NFTs, just keep the wonky weekly alpha, and then do another word, like a catchphrase of the week, a hot topic of the week, something that catches an emotion of somebody.
Throw some
use
alarm
words
emojis out there.
Yeah, no alarm emojis. Hell no. But like a strong word, like cataclysmic events this week or something like that, and those always kind of vibe with people whenever but keep it true to the he put up the freaking alarms.
What's that? One second. I've got something I'm baking up here. Okay.
I got something I'm baking up too, and it's myself.
How about that? Breaking.
God, you sound like that. What was that tool in the space? Mario?
Yeah. But like on some actual, informational topics, there are a couple things that happened this week, like, Blur. Everyone, I mean, at least I expected it. I did not think, the season 2 was going to end on April. Their MO is pretty much delays, right?
Dude,
so I fully
Blur is
expected
sent
that
this
delay.
morning.
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be picking up some good volume this morning.
Yeah.
Being like 100% honest, but yeah, no, I definitely did expect Blur to delay again and extend the airdrop. Right, they're trying to claim as much market dominance for as long as they can to just like get you in the habit of using Blur. In all honesty, I have not listed a single thing on OpenSea since Valentine's Day. What they're doing is working. And I like to hear that Blur's pumping, because I did try to farm the airdrop for a little bit. And I know people like Machi, he better have saved some funds to, prop up the Blur token a little bit to hopefully break even after all the ETH that he spent over the last, month and a half. But yeah, fully expected it. And we'll see what happens from here. A lot of people are kind of upset. They're like, "Oh, Blur's going to ruin the NFT market for another blah 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 or so months." Well, maybe buy decent projects.
Everybody that says that just doesn't understand how markets work. It's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard in my life, that, okay, Blur is ruining the NFT markets because people are able to sell their NFTs. Like, that's the dumbest shit that I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I hate the idea of that. No, it has made the NFT market way better because it's made it more liquid. Guess what? If people sold into these bids and they sold it to people that aren't quite, quote unquote, as committed, well, guess what? They profited X because it was the price they wanted to sell. They had the ability to do so, which is amazing. And then if the price drops, guess what? At a certain point, if they actually really were committed to the project, they're able to get back into it and have secured some extra ETH along the way. If they're not committed to it, then F it, right? Like, they weren't going to be either way. So, why does the idea that people have to be trapped in their bags for a market to be better. Like, how is that
Yeah,
how does that make sense?
it's a weird psychology because, before Blur, right, people like OSF Rect, he wouldn't have been able to dump 70 apes for like, what was it, like 72 ETH immediately, right? And it's kind of almost like a Robin Hood if you play it correctly, right? You're able to extract some of the liquidity back from the Blur farmers, right? And you would not be able to do this. That liquidity would have been locked up for a long time, right? But I think Machi, he's down like 4,600 ETH since Valentine's Day. So more liquidity is coming back into the market. Like, yeah, some people may be caught on the wrong side of it, but they're more than likely trying to trade with emotion, hopping on the FOMO trains, buying Nakamigos at like 4.1 or 0.41 ETH. And yeah, I see it as almost like a mini Robin Hood. So you're able to get some of the liquidity back from these whales. You have liquidity to sell into if you really need the liquidity that bad. Like before Blur, you were not able to dump, 20 plus NFTs at a time and get immediate liquidity for it without, huge slippage. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't get all the moaning about ruining the market.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous to me. You have to have buyers in order to have, like in order for the value on paper to be worth anything, right? Like otherwise you can list your shit at whatever you want, but if there are no buyers, if there's no liquidity for it, it's worthless. So I'm still a big fan of it. I love hearing people complain about it because it's all so short-sighted to me. It is all so short-sighted. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, everything I'm seeing right now with NFTs still reminds me of where we were back in 2019 with a bunch of these different alts, where there were so many alts that were kind of just like chopping sideways. They had little pumps here and there, but nothing too sexy throughout that year. And then boom, you hit 2020. All of a sudden, you just hit this massive 2 year long alt season where alts were doing the craziest things, but it took a ton of patience to get there, right? 2019, it felt like we were never going to see that type of an alt season. So I really think we're in that same boat right now with NFTs where, there are a lot of people that are so worn out and they're just looking for things to blame. So they're like, oh man, well, because you can sell shit on Blur, it's worthless or, it's driving things down. So I don't know.
It's people who are
people are
over
just looking for
leveraged
something
as
to blame.
well. Not only worn out, but over leveraged, where they got 98% of their net worth in JPEGs in like kind of the middle of a recession or impending. So it's if you are feeling major emotions with like minor price fluctuations, you're probably a little bit over leveraged. Like, I mean, it's common sense. Everybody says it, don't play with money. You're not afraid to lose, right? But I mean, honestly, though, we are in a casino with a little bit of, fundamentals backing them, and don't get liquidated.
That's a simple rule, man. That's a simple rule. Okay, we've got a couple new people up to stage. Pixel Rich, what's going on? Okay, Mr. Hawk.
Good morning, Kalio. Good morning, everybody. Has been some time since I've been speaking. I thought I'd take the other side of the argument about Blur. With OpenSea, you kind of had the feeling that if someone was placing a weave offer, they may be interested in the NFT. And the difference with Blur is that they're pushing their token and everybody's farming, and it feels like the fundamentals, whatever that is, the community or whatever they promise, is not relevant anymore. Most projects are dominated by some power plays between big players. So I like the liquidity on Blur, and I like the interface. I'm a front-end developer myself. I hate that I can't view it on mobile phone. It would be so easy to do. But yeah, I think most of the sentiment is that it's not about the NFT anymore, or not that much. The place has been taken over by Blur farmers.
Are you saying they're diminishing the art aspect a little bit of NFTs, and kind of blurring the lines of the value of rares?
The value of rares. No, yeah. Well, that's another flaw. Yeah, on Blur you can only do bits on the whole collection. That's a good point. But yeah, it's mostly like there's a lot of liquidity, but it's Blur farmers stomping on each other. That's how it feels like. But yeah, maybe you're right. It's only the NFT bear market and people projected on Blur. But yeah, there are also a lot of voices of people who say, yeah, when is this whole Blur farming over? Then it will be a whatever, a decent market again. So I don't know how true that is. I'm not a big market expert. I was just wanted to throw that points out there.
Fair enough, man. Well, I appreciate you providing the other side of things, and like I get that. Um, especially when people are sentimentally attached to something, it does turn it more into a token rather than art. But I still think either way, there are always going to be people in a market that just, like they have that mentality where, you're going to have people that collect because they're in love with the piece. You're going to have people that collect because they have some type of expectation of return and some type of time frame. And, like I think it's healthy to be able to have every single one of those methods available, but I don't know. Either way, I think this next cycle you'll see that the blur bids won't be an issue, right? Like they really won't be in a trending market. That shit is not an issue. So we're just not there yet, and that's fine. It's okay. So it's not Blur's fault that the market's not trending. It's just a function of where we are in the cycle. So you know, we'll get to a point where all of this conversation kind of becomes moot eventually.
What's fascinating to me is how much opportunity OpenSea left on the table. It's crazy that they were just overtook by Blur so fast.
Yeah, open at this point, OpenSea's dead unless if they call in a life raft, which it would have to be something major. OpenSea's dead. Blur on like daily volume, they do like with you know uh less than 50% of the users, right? I think it's more close to like a quarter of the users. They're doing like three times the volume as OpenSea daily. Which a lot of it could be attributed to farming. But at the same time, they're getting people used to using their platform and encouraging, not to use other ones, right? And humans are creatures of habit, right? So once you get into that habit of using Blur, that's going to be your first instinct. Like it used to be, OpenSea was the first marketplace I opened whenever I was searching NFTs. It's no longer OpenSea. I think it's like the third one that I open now. I go Blur, Gym, and then OpenSea is like the third marketplace that I open. So yeah, OpenSea shot themselves in the foot. They're trying to play. They're gonna have to try and play catch up, and it's gonna take something big to motivate people, and probably something financially to get them away from using Blur. That's just in my own opinion.
You heard it here first. If you were an OpenSea developer here on your Anon account, Rooster just dropped some alpha. I don't think they're going to do it though, Rooster. I don't think they're going to drop any type of tokens. They've gone a completely different
No,
route.
yeah,
So
they've been talking about, like, I think it's been pretty much known for a little over a year now that they're gonna go like the same route Coinbase did, and I think it's gonna end up obsolete. OpenSea is not the market leader anymore, and I don't think they will achieve that status again unless if they do something. And if it's not something financially, I have no idea what they could do to bring people away from Blur.
I agree, man. I really think their greatest opportunity at this point would almost be to just be completely acquired by some type of centralized exchange that already has a big brand name, and to be able to, revive themselves that way through some other type of synergies. But, otherwise it's pretty difficult and grim for them at this point. But yeah, hey, I mean, I love that the season was extended. Makes it more fun for everybody that is trading on Blur. And, just hearing people complain, it's just a sign of the times and sign that there's opportunity, right? When everybody's happy, probably a decent time to take profit. Whenever everybody's mad is probably a decent time to stack. So take that for what you will. Guys, I apologize. I've got to go ahead and wrap this up a bit early today. I've got to, go run a few errands and start cooking. I've got a grill off for tomorrow, and I'm starting the process here in the next couple of hours. So it's going to be good. I'll keep you guys posted on how it turns out.
Is it another Gustavo or what?
No, man. This one is just like 20, 30 pounds of pulled pork. So something like that. So it'll
Much
be
love,
good.
family.
I'll keep you guys posted. Love you guys. And we will see you this next week.
Much love, everybody.
Much love, everybody. Peace.